Perfection is overrated. Let's focus on the tasks that actually make a difference and let the rest go. I know it's hard to do, but a clean enough house is a win this spring because ain't nobody got time for a perfectly clean home. So we're going to chat about that today and really work on teaching ourselves that good enough spring clean is going to be where it's at in 2025.
Hey, I'm Brianne McKenzie. I'm a mom of 4 little kids, teacher of students with special needs, and a health and productivity buff. And this is the Get Shit Done podcast, where I help busy moms learn to get shit done in their lives through everyday, tangible productivity tips and tricks that'll be sure to help you get shit done. Whether you're a busy working mom inside or outside the home, I'll share my how-tos and my step-by-step strategies you need to prioritize what's important in your life and create the energy you need to follow through. Now, grab your earbuds and join me for a mom chat while you're doing the dishes, folding the laundry, or exercising with your kids. And let's get shit done together.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Get Shit Done podcast. I'm sitting here in the parking lot at one of my kids' dance classes before I head for my walk, and I thought I would record this week's episode. You know, I like to try to do that multitasking thing, and my business happens in the mom cracks of time, you know what I mean, when I got a few minutes here and there. So this is the perfect time. It's actually quiet in the car, and this works. I feel like I've been the most consistent with this kind of little routine. So here we go. Today, we're talking about how we can really work on ourselves and make cleaning good enough, meaning we don't have to have things perfect. And really, it's kind of one of those things that's more within than anything else, right? And how is it that our husbands can be home and all the things that need to be done doesn't seem to bother them? Right? I'm not saying we need to let it all go, but we can probably let a lot of things go and free up some time for ourselves. So we're going to look at a spring cleaning that's good enough for 2025. And I'm going to get into some of that topic here today. And maybe some of it can be a little bit of a takeaway for you and help encourage you to be okay. You know, the days of washing our walls and taking all of our carpets outside and beating them on the line and letting them air out and scrubbing the baseboards, that stuff, we don't have time for anymore. So, our lives are different than they were back in the day when maybe our moms or grandmothers used to do that kind of spring clean. So today I want to talk a little bit about that. So my first point is going to be choosing those priorities, right? What are those areas that we're going to focus on? So it may be areas that you feel like more people will be in or see, or more high traffic areas in your home. So a lot of us, that might be the kitchen, it may be the bathroom, it may be, your main living space or something like that. For me, those would be my kitchen. It would be my porch, which is the area where, you see when you first come in. And the bathrooms, and the kids' toy room is kind of always ongoing. So I wouldn't necessarily worry so much for me about that because they do that kind of frequently. But kitchen, bathrooms, and main porch area. That would be my top 3. Those things that, they're high traffic areas. They're the kind of the first things you see when you walk in, but also if I have people over, the bathrooms need to be clean. And there are those areas we spend a lot of time in. So the things that don't matter so much are those areas that we don't see a lot of or have a lot of traffic in. So we probably could just maybe skip it or do a little surface tidy in those areas. So I really encourage you to pare back what you think a spring clean, and I'm air quoting here, needs to be. So maybe we just have to focus on those high traffic areas. For me, the porch is really important because it's our dumping ground, right? You walk in the door, and when I say dumping ground, I literally mean the door opens and the kids actually jump out of everything that they have, their backpacks, their mitts, their bags, whatever, and dump it in front of the door. When we bought our house, the main selling feature was this massive porch that we have, because our other house, we kind of walked right into the living room. So I'm so excited, but it is full of stuff. So right now with all the spring the winter mittens and hats and boots and winter gear and the spring stuff were kind of in between, because last week we had a random snow day in April. And that was the one time that my procrastination paid off. So I had not put away all the winter stuff, but we're kind of at that point now. So that is where I'm going to focus and spend time, because decluttering that, putting away the winter things, seeing what fits, seeing what doesn't over time, because I definitely don't have time to do that all at once, is going to be one of those areas that's worthwhile for me. So that's one of my priorities, and that's where I'm going to focus. So I encourage you to think about it and realize that we don't have to have the whole house as a priority, right? Like this year, we don't necessarily all have to be scrubbing baseboards in certain rooms, or unless that's what you want to do. So just understanding that a whole house clean all at once doesn't have to happen. So the next thing I want to talk about is the best time to clean. So I want you to really look at yourself and think about when are those times, not only that you have like in your day with your family life, but also your energy levels. If mornings are where you feel like you have the most energy, maybe one morning you choose, this is the morning I'm going to clean the thing, or I'm going to tackle one of those priorities. If you're a night owl, maybe you prefer to do that stuff when your kids go to bed. So maybe that's for you. It's just one of those things that it takes a little minute to reflect on yourself and think about what works best for you. Now, here's a little obstacle that I've found that has come up for me lately. Typically, when you know yourself, or even if you don't realize that you're doing this, that you're already choosing those times of days to tackle some of the chores at home, because, that's when you tend to have the energy. So you go towards it. You're cleaning the kitchen at the end of the night because the kids are asleep and you had the energy to do that, or whatever, right? So when do you find the time to do extra stuff? Because we literally probably have most of our days blocked off, right? So I have chosen one day of the week that I'm going to let the regular stuff go away and just focus on, that priority for spring cleaning. That is something that has worked for me. Another way that I tend to do it, depending on the week, is if I'm choosing the porch, for example, that's a huge job. So one of those nights is not going to tackle it. So I will choose a 15-minute block in that chore time that I find works for me. And I'm going to tackle something to do with the porch in that 15 minutes. And then I'll do the rest of the stuff that I normally do in the night. So I'm just tackling one little bit of it multiple days. So then I can kind of, I might just decide one night I'm going to match mittens and put them in a bag. And then that's it for that night. And the next night I might take winter boots down to the basement that fit and put other ones in a donation bag. And that's a 15-minute chunk. So I'm breaking that big job up into little bits. And then one day, if I feel like I have the time to muck out that whole porch, that might be my chore time for the day, and not the other stuff doesn't get done. So it's just kind of really being intentional about thinking about it, rather than it's just in front of you, you do it. That's kind of how you choose when to fit that thing in and decide what would work best for you. Okay, my third point here today is pair tasks to keep it manageable. So when you're cleaning the bathroom, you should listen to a podcast, or you can do something you enjoy, right? Or if there's a really hard task, like maybe mopping, I don't know about you, that's one of the hard ones for me. To alleviate that, make it easy, do a harder task and then a small one after it. So then you don't feel so overburdened by all of the work, Really, it's about thinking about what's manageable for your energy levels and what you have the capacity for. So I may not have the capacity to mop my whole house, but I may be able to just handle my kitchen floor for tonight. And that's okay. So it's one of those things, just realizing what you have in your capacity for that amount of time that you've chosen to do it. Number 4, I want you to think about this more as a routine. And this is how we can kind of make this just part of our everyday, so that it's not like this huge burden or feeling like we should do this or we need to do this. Keep cleaning supplies in one spot so that you don't have to be running around the house for it. It's easy to grab. And then you can create the habit of tackling that priority that you can during that time. So example, kids go to bed, that's your cue. Usually you clean the kitchen up of the supper and tidy up or whatever. So you look and you're like, okay, it's 7 o'clock. I have from 7 to 8 that I usually do my evening chores. So maybe from 7 to 7:15, you're choosing one of those things from your spring cleaning, like intentional tasks that you decided on, your priorities. And you might think, okay, it's the bathroom, so I'm going to clean out underneath the bathroom sink. But you want to have those cleaning supplies somewhere that you can grab it, because it's going to cut into your 15 minutes and it's going to make your task so much longer. So if you already have that stuff at a central spot and you know that every night from 7 to 7:15, I'm doing that part of the chore before I do the kitchen and the rest of the stuff, then you'll be ready for it. And that's how you kind of build a routine on that. It's almost like a habit stack. If you're already doing the kitchen, you know that that's the time you're going to add this new little thing on. And it's a small baby step. Part of that intention that you set for yourself, or that priority that you determined was one of the important things to get done this spring, that's where you'll do it. So the last thing is, oftentimes, the place feels stale. I always find after like a rainy day, the next day it's sunny and I'm like so pumped. I'm like, oh, it's beautiful out. Like I want to enjoy the sun or whatever. And I look around, my house looks like, well, first of all, my dog sheds like crazy. So there's so much hair. It wouldn't matter if I vacuumed every day. There's still friggin' hair everywhere. And I see that. And then it sends me into this spiral of like, great, now I got to spend the time cleaning because it's beautiful out and blah, blah, blah. Obviously, that's my brain going in a bad place. So we don't need to do that. But one thing that can really help is just like get some movement in. Move your body when you're feeling that way. So open some windows, maybe throw open those curtains, open the door, spray some Febreze, and just move your body around while you're doing it. Put on some music and it'll help you to feel a little bit better about that space rather than feeling like you got to be stuck indoors all day and clean. Because you know what? At the end of the day, if you let that win, feeling like you got to stay inside and clean, you'll actually never not be able to do that. Like you'll always find something to clean. And that robs us of our joy in life and our time with our kids and our being present with our families. Like at the end of the day, there's still going to be mess when you're done the thing you would have wanted to do. So all of this to say that it's a little bit about training our brains more so than the actual doing of the work, right? A lot of this stuff is embedded in us from years and years of feeling like we need to do this thing, or we should have done this thing, or we just get so overwhelmed in our space and our chaos when we finally slow down that it just feels like it overtakes us. And in the past, we could lean in and just like scream at everyone and say, get out of my way. I'm just going to rage clean this whole house. And that might make us feel a little bit better in that moment. However, that's not a sustainable way to be over time and like teach our families and really be with our kids if that's how it goes, right? We can do it a different way, but it just takes some intention and thought around doing it. So aim for a little bit better than it is instead of perfect. A clean house is good enough. That is where we want to show our kids. We'd rather spend time with them, right? That's where a clean house is good enough. We don't have to be taking their playtime outside for us to be cleaning constantly when we could be enjoying time with them. But I want to say, if you need a little bit of accountability and support around how to actually make this shift, because it's easier said than done, I know. I have a spring cleaning challenge happening in the Moms Get Shit Done Club. It's free. You can go and download it at the bottom of this podcast. It just gives you little tips and tricks on how to guide you around doing some of these tasks a little bit each day. I would love for you to join me. If you are able to check off your bingo card at the end of the month, I'll give you a free month to the Moms Get Shit Done Club. Subscribe at the bottom here of this podcast and you can join it along with us. I hope that you are enjoying some lovely spring weather and you didn't get a dumping of snow like we did this week. Thankfully, it's like pretty well all gone. 3 days after, I'm like seeing little bits and cracks around, but we're supposed to get some rain this weekend. So that will be okay. But I am so over the snow. At least I feel like we knew it was going to go away really quick and it wasn't going to stick around. So that's good. But I want the warm temps. I got some really nice new clothes for my birthday. That's like spring vibes, but I'm a frozen girly all the time. So I'm waiting for some warm weather so I can wear them. Anyway, I hope you have a lovely week ahead. Take care.
Well, that's it for me today. I'm likely needed for some mom duties right about now. Thanks so much for joining me for a chat, and let's do it again soon. And be sure to follow me on Instagram at Brianne_McKenzie123 for more tips and tricks on how to get shit done.